There is a quiet conversation that happens every morning between your mind and your body. It begins the moment you open your eyes and deciding to greet the day. For many of us, especially as we navigate the rich and complex years of midlife and beyond, that conversation can sometimes feel a little hesitant. You might notice a bit of stiffness where there used to be ease, or a desire to linger in comfort rather than step into action. This is a natural part of the human experience, but it is also an invitation. It is an invitation to understand that how we move directly influences how we age, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Welcome to Health Facts. Today, we are exploring the profound relationship between daily movement and healthy aging, looking at why staying active is less about rigid exercise routines and more about maintaining a vibrant, capable, and joyful life. To understand why movement matters so much, we have to look beyond the surface level of fitness. In our culture, we often equate movement with high-intensity workouts, gyms, and sweating. While those things have their place, the concept of healthy aging requires a broader, gentler perspective. We are talking about body awareness and the psychology of longevity. It is about the connection between your nervous system and your muscles, and how that connection dictates your sense of independence. When we talk about movement, we are talking about the signal you send to your brain that says you are still present, still capable, and still engaged with the world around you. The human body was designed for motion. For thousands of years, survival depended on it. Today, however, our environment has changed, yet our biology remains the same. When we move, we circulate more than just blood. We circulate vital nutrients to our tissues. We encourage the flow of fluids that lubricate our joints, and we stimulate the production of neurochemicals that regulate our mood. From a psychological standpoint, movement is a declaration of agency. When you move with intention, you are reinforcing a positive feedback loop. Your body feels capable, so your mind feels confident. When your mind feels confident, you are more likely to engage in social activities, pursue hobbies, and maintain a zest for life. This interplay is the cornerstone of healthy aging. As we move through our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, subtle shifts occur within our physiology. You might notice that recovery takes a little longer, or that your range of motion isn't quite what it was a decade ago. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply the natural progression of time. As we age, our tissues can lose some of their elasticity. The hydrating fluids that keep our joints moving smoothly can decrease if they are not stimulated. Furthermore, our muscle mass naturally tends to diminish if it is not actively maintained. This biological reality is often what leads to the feeling of slowing down. However, there is a psychological component to this slowing down that is just as important. There is a concept in health psychology known as the body map. Your brain holds a map of your body, keeping track of what you can do and how far you can reach. When we stop moving a certain way, perhaps we stop reaching for high shelves or we stop sitting on the floor, the brain's map of that movement becomes fuzzy. Over time, the brain decides that those movements are no longer safe or necessary, and it restricts us further. This can create a cycle where doing less leads to the ability to do less. We often attribute this strictly to getting old, but in many cases, it is actually a result of becoming sedentary. We stop moving because we feel stiff, but we feel stiff because we have stopped moving. Several everyday factors contribute to this cycle, often without us even realizing it. Our modern world is built for convenience. We have cars to transport us, elevators to lift us, and technology that brings entertainment and communication directly to our laps. While these are wonderful tools, they also rob us of the incidental movement that our ancestors relied on. Think about how much time is spent sitting, during the commute, at a desk, at the dinner table, and on the sofa in the evening. This prolonged stillness tells our bodies that we don't need to be agile. Another factor is our mindset regarding rest. There is a cultural narrative that says retirement or the later years of life should be a time of leisure, which is often interpreted as inactivity. We work hard for decades with the goal of finally sitting down. While rest is crucial, the balance has tipped too far. We often confuse relaxation with sedation. True relaxation restores energy, while prolonged inactivity drains it. There is also the fear factor. As we age, we may develop a fear of stumbling or straining ourselves. This anxiety can lead to what psychologists call guarded movement. We become stiff and careful, holding tension in our bodies to protect ourselves. Ironically, this tension makes us less fluid and more prone to the very issues we are trying to avoid. It is important to recognize that healthy aging is not about trying to reclaim the body you had at 20. It is about optimizing the body you have now. It is about shifting the focus from how the body looks to how the body functions and feels. This requires a compassionate approach. If we view movement as a chore or a punishment for what we ate, we will resist it. But if we view movement as a way to nourish our joints and calm our minds, it becomes a form of self-care. So, how do we integrate this into our lives? The key lies in lifestyle awareness rather than strict regimens. It begins with the understanding that consistency is far more valuable than intensity. You do not need to run a marathon to reap the benefits of longevity. In fact, gentle, continuous movement is often better for the aging body than sporadic bursts of high-intensity effort. Start by examining your daily routine. Look for opportunities to introduce motion where there is currently stillness. This concept is often called snacking on movement. Instead of thinking you need a solid hour to exercise, think about taking 5 minutes here and there. When you are on the phone, try pacing around the room instead of sitting. When you're watching television, take the commercial breaks to stand up and stretch your arms toward the ceiling. These small interruptions in sedentary time add up significantly over the course of a day. Walking is perhaps the most underrated tool for healthy aging. It is natural, rhythmic, and accessible. Walking not only benefits the heart and muscles, but also synchronizes the mind. There is a meditative quality to the rhythm of steps that can help process emotions and clear mental fog. Aim to make walking a pleasurable part of your day rather than a task. Perhaps a morning walk to greet the sun or an evening stroll to digest dinner. If you can walk in nature, the benefits are amplified, as the fresh air and greenery have a proven calming effect on the nervous system. Another vital aspect of lifestyle awareness is mobility and flexibility. Think of your body like a hinge. If a hinge sits unused for years, it rusts. If you move it back and forth every day, it stays smooth. Gentle stretching or practices that focus on range of motion help maintain that smoothness. This involves moving your joints through their full range, rolling your shoulders, circling your ankles, turning your head from side to side. These simple actions send lubrication to the joints and remind your brain that these movements are safe. Balance is another pillar of longevity that we often overlook until it becomes a challenge. Incorporating simple balance awareness into your day can make a tremendous difference. This could be as simple as standing on one foot while you brush your teeth or walking heel to toe down a hallway. By challenging your balance in safe, controlled environments, you sharpen the communication between your inner ear, your brain, and your muscles. This builds confidence in your ability to navigate the world. We must also consider the social aspect of movement. As we age, social isolation can be a risk factor for low mood and decreased motivation. Combining movement with social interaction creates a powerful synergy. This could mean meeting a friend for a walk, joining a gardening club, or simply playing actively with grandchildren. When movement is tied to connection and joy, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like living. Your mindset plays a massive role in this process. How you talk to yourself about your body matters. Instead of focusing on what you can no longer do, focus on what you can do. Celebrate the fact that your legs can carry you, that your arms can embrace loved ones, and that your hands can create. This gratitude creates a positive psychological environment that encourages better self-care. Listen to your body. There is a difference between the good discomfort of muscles being used and the sharp pain of injury. Learning to distinguish the two is part of developing body awareness. Be kind to yourself on days when energy is low. A gentle stretch is better than nothing. The goal is to keep the momentum of life going, not to win a race. It is also helpful to rethink your environment. Make your home a place that invites movement. Keep comfortable shoes by the door. Leave a yoga mat unrolled in a corner as a visual cue. If you enjoy gardening, see it not just as a chore, but as a functional movement session involving squatting, reaching, and lifting. Housework, too, counts as movement. Vacuuming, dusting, and organizing are all ways to keep the body active. When we reframe these daily tasks as investments in our health, they become less tedious. Let's also touch on the importance of breathing. Deep rhythmic breathing is the foundation of movement. It oxygenates the blood and calms the nervous system. Often, when we are stressed or concentrating, we hold our breath or breathe shallowly. By bringing conscious awareness to your breath while you move, you connect the mind and body more deeply. Try to coordinate your breath with your steps or your stretches. This mindful approach turns simple movement into a calming practice that reduces stress hormones in the body. Ultimately, the goal of daily movement for healthy aging is to maintain your quality of life. It is about preserving your ability to do the things that bring you joy for as long as possible. It is about having the stamina to travel, the flexibility to play on the floor with a pet or a child, and the strength to carry your own groceries. These may seem like small things, but they are the components of independence. When we preserve our independence, we preserve our dignity and our sense of self. As we conclude this exploration, take a moment to reflect on your own relationship with movement. It is never too late to change the narrative. The human body is incredibly resilient and responsive. Even small changes, when practiced consistently, can yield remarkable results in how you feel. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just start with one small intention. Maybe it is parking a little further away at the store. Maybe it is taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Maybe it is simply stretching for 5 minutes before you get into bed. Remember that aging is a privilege. It is a journey that we are lucky to be on. By treating our bodies with respect and keeping them in motion, we honor that journey. We allow ourselves to age not with a sense of decline, but with a sense of grace and continued expansion. Movement is the song of life, and as long as you are moving, you are singing along. Thank you for spending this time with Health Facts, investing in your understanding of your own well-being. We hope this discussion has encouraged you to view movement not as a requirement, but as a resource for a richer, fuller life. This video is for general awareness and educational purposes only.